Okay. Hello, everybody out there. Um, and as you can see, I am Mark Byron Dallas, and I am a dialect coach of Talk Like That. And welcome everybody to our very first episode of Talk Like That presents Teri Talks Talent. And this is Teri Ritter. Thank you so much for agreeing to collaborate with me on this. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited and nervous, but this is something that I've been really looking forward to doing with you because I think that I'm going to be asking most of the questions today, but there's going to be a lot of questions that many people have that I'm going to ask you. And hopefully, some people might log in via YouTube and maybe ask questions, and I can choose a couple of those too. So I'm imagining that most people that are watching already know who you are. I mean, you're pretty famous. But for the
Not.
one or two people out there that are watching that are like, who is this Teri person? Maybe tell us very briefly about who you are and what you do.
Okay. So I'm Teri Ritter with Ritter Talent Agency. I've been an agent going into my 14th year. I began quite a while ago with another agency, was collaborating and working with Heinz Management originally, and then decided to open up my own agency about 3 years ago. I love working with actors. I love this career. It's the best career that I've ever had, and I've had a few. I work out of Toronto, but we represent actors through North America, through Europe, and anywhere we can get somebody working, we'll give it a go.
Great. That's awesome. I should mention like how I came across you. I was doing one of my usual podcasts, and I came across a couple of the actors from your roster completely by accident. I was meant to be interviewing another actor entirely who didn't turn up because he slept through his alarm or something. So I just put it out there like, hey, if anybody wants to be interviewed today, then let me know. And then it was Mr. Pearl, yes,
Yeah.
Ralph, who said, you just put it out there and said, yeah, sure, you can interview me. So I got talking to Ralph, and then Ralph mentioned how he got into becoming an actor through his daughter, Jessica.
Right.
So then he brought Jessica on. So I was having like a conversation with both of them about how they began, and they mentioned you. So then we arranged to have an online,
Right.
podcast with you.
Yeah.
So there were four of us on there, and that was a lot of fun for me. So I figured that it'd be a great idea to have something where I get to ask you lots of questions,
I'm ready.
You give us the answers.
If I have them, you're gonna get them.
Awesome. Okay, so this is our very first episode, and the title is "So You Want to Be an Actor?" And so, of course, this is for people who are not just young people who are thinking about it, but also people that feel it's something that they're drawn to, that maybe they're in their later years, maybe they're even older than me, and are thinking, maybe I should try my hand at this, give it a go, because people have said to them, oh, you know what? You should be an actor. And maybe they've thought about it like, oh, maybe I could be. And then, of course, there are also people that are told, people who have said that I want to be an actor, but people keep telling me that I shouldn't do it. Think, oh, you shouldn't really do that. So what would be your answer to that? I guess, first of all, if somebody says, should I become an actor? How would you respond to it?
Well, a lot of times, especially in the acting industry, you do wonder if you'd be good at it. And even when I was in my 20s, I thought about it myself. I really sort of have a creative bent and really wanted to try something like that, but was a little bit too nervous, and nobody prodded me on to try it. The first thing to do if you're thinking about becoming an actor is just try it out. Community theater is abundant, or at least it was prior to COVID, and they're always looking for actors. So even if it's a really tiny bit part where you get, a couple of lines on stage, it'll give you a sense of what it's all about. Go and watch theater, go to movies, like really start to get involved in small indie productions. Like there are a lot of students out there learning to become directors and producers, and they're always looking for new actors of all ages to be in their productions. And a lot of times they're taking actors with no experience. So if you're thinking about it and you don't know, go and just try it out. Just start applying, get somebody to take a picture and go out and start applying to all of these really small, no paying projects that are dying to have actors in their projects. On the other hand, if you want to be an actor and somebody's trying to dissuade you from that for various reasons, and I was one of those moms who tried to talk my daughter out of wanting to be an actor, sometimes you just know deep down inside that this is the thing that you really should be doing. And my daughter was one of those that really just kept pushing and pushing and pushing because she really wanted it. And sure enough, she was a great actor. She really loved it. And, it took a lot of persuading. But again, I encourage you to really just go out and do it. You don't want to, be in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and regretting that you never gave it a try at any age. So, again, just go and test the waters. Take some courses. There are a lot of mini courses you can do where you can get a sense of what it is to learn lines and be on stage or be in front of the camera. So I think if you're thinking about it, just do it. Don't hesitate. On either side, just go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be one of those people that will say, I could have been an actor.
Right.
I could have done that. Just don't be a I could have been. Just like you say, just
do it. Yeah, just do it.
It's like Nike.
Exactly. Nike. Just do it. Just have fun, because it's a really fun career to have. And even if you're just doing it in a small way as a hobby, I really encourage you to do it. It's a really fun thing to do.
And what about those people who say something like, am I too old? Am I too ugly? Am I too short? Am I too fat? Am I too pretty? Some people might say that. What would you say to those people?
Okay, so, it's really interesting. Back when I started, say, you think back 20 years ago, everybody has this idea in their head of what an actor should be. And it's, it comes a lot from the media, and it's like leading man looks or leading woman looks. But that's not all it is. The industry now is portraying who we are as a group. So no matter what your ethnicity, no matter what your size, no matter what your age, no matter what your shape, the industry is now opening up all of those doors to people that are different, that are unique. And we're all unique. We all have gifts and we all have differences. And thank goodness the industry is now seeing that people want to relate to people like them. And so it doesn't matter what your size is. Sure, you may not get a leading role, but who cares? Like, as long as you're in there enjoying what you're doing, you can actually do it at any age, at any size, at any shape, no matter how, attractive or unattractive you think you are. The industry is going to be looking for people like you at some point for some projects. So I don't think any of those criteria really make a difference at this point. You can do it all, in my opinion.
Great. And the other thing is like the COVID era has pretty much leveled the playing field in some way because these days it's not unusual that, well, I mean, even still there, casting directors are asking and agencies are asking that you do self tapes and then
Mhm.
once you've recorded that, you send that into them. So you don't even have to leave your sofa
Yeah.
to do it. It's not like you have to get, I mean, some auditions, of course, are live, but a lot of them are just recorded. You send them in and just you can send lots into different places, right? And then see if any come back. And
Yeah, it has really changed how the industry works right now. Prior to COVID, pretty much every audition, especially the large auditions, were all done live. Now it's been a total change where for every single role now, and especially when we were all closed up because of COVID, everything is done through self tape or through a Zoom audition. So, for those of you that are working full time in order to pay the mortgage, you can actually still apply to acting jobs, by self taping at night when you get home. You have to make sure you have the freedom to be able to do the project should you book it, where you have vacation time that you can actually take off. But it makes it so much more open to those that have different types of careers or just really want to get into it. So yeah, they're also seeing far more people than they ever did before as well, because there were only a certain amounts of hours in the day to see performers come in for live auditions.
yeah,
Now the casting directors can actually sit at home and just go through these tapes one after another.
yeah.
And so it's opened the door to them seeing way more people than they would have seen before, for sure.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
a lot of people who there's a lot of new people, right?
Hmm.
There's a lot of people that are actually finding roles that
Yeah.
hadn't before. So it's a whole new complete
Yeah. It's a new world. Yeah. It's in
um
many ways it's really good. It's actually been good for actors in terms of being able to be seen by people or casting directors they never would have been able to see before.
yeah. So apart from having a camera and maybe access to the high-speed internet, what does somebody need before they decide to become an actor?
A little bit of training always helps. There are those actors that definitely just are naturals. And sometimes actually training can hurt them because they're so natural already that then when they get into training, they start thinking the process
Uh,
rather than being the process. But it's always good to take an auditioning course, for instance,
mhm.
because there's very specific things you need to know when you're auditioning or self-taping. So now we have new coaches that are actually doing self-taping courses, having a little bit of training on eye line or camera lines, or
Mhm.
what happens when you're on set, just general idea of what occurs when you're filming. And then there's scene study, where a coach will give you materials to study with another actor, and you're going to run the scenes and get some feedback from the coach. So any of those types of courses
Mm,
really help when you're actually starting out, because then at least you're not going into an audition blind.
yeah, yeah,
So any of those kinds of things are really good things to start.
right. That's great. So I mean, of course, a lot of people think, well, I know this guy who's an actor. He's classically trained. He went to drama school. He went to RADA. I don't have that. Oh my God, I don't know if I can afford the time or money to do it. But what you're saying is that a lot of people don't. I mean, there are a lot of actors who don't have that kind of training as
Mhm.
well. So what you're talking about is having some of the like basic training about how to behave on set,
Right.
how to behave in front of a camera, what to keep in mind in your, subconscious mind, really, about like, where to stand,
Mhm.
cheating to the camera, some of the terminology that is used as well, so that you're not just like
Right.
the rabbit in the headlights.
Right.
Uh, and so that's some of the stuff. But another thing that I wanted to uh, touch on that you mentioned was about the idea of some people being a natural. So I wanted to say that if you feel that you are a natural, please don't say that to anybody,
Yeah.
even to an agent. Like if an agent asks you, "Oh, so what training have you done?" and you say, "Well, I haven't done any training because I'm a natural." I think
Yeah.
if if at that point the agent says to you, "Fantastic, come on into my roster," that's not that's not the agent you want, because I know there are lots of agents who will like they'll just go, "Oh, you're a natural. Okay, that's great. I'll be in touch."
Show me.
Yeah, yeah,
Show
yeah.
me.
Show
Yeah.
me how natural you
Yeah.
are. So yeah, just so be cautious about how talented you are. Just be careful.
Well, at a certain age too, and when I say people are naturals, it's generally referring to younger people, like kids. So my daughter was a natural. She just knew what to do. She was totally like just out there, very free and able to take a role on and just go with it, because
Yeah,
kids do that. Kids love to play act, they do it naturally, and so they can actually go into this scenario and they can actually freely just take on the role. as
yeah,
you as you become a teenager, you become more inhibited, more self-aware. You're like and at that point is when training probably should start happening, because at that point you've got a lot of things going on, a lot of growth, a lot of hormones, a lot of everything, and it sort
correct.
of takes away from that natural spontaneity to play.
Yeah.
And so that's usually when we start to recommend training. So some form of training is always a good thing.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that you bring this up because I have 3 kids and I know exactly what you're talking about, because that change doesn't just happen to the body. It completely changes
Yeah.
the whole thing. And I think it's not necessarily entirely a physical brain hormone thing. I think that the established educational system is also to blame to some degree, because I think when you get to that age of like around 13 or whatever, suddenly it's not all about, oh, let's play, let's explore, let's find out more things, what fun education is. It's like, okay, you've got to sit down and you've got, especially now, you got to
Yeah.
suck up all this information into your brain and then regurgitate it. And then everyone's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? This is boring.
Yeah.
So there's a certain amount of,
Yeah.
anyway,
I
I,
agree.
I won't get into that in too much detail, but it's an unfortunate thing that I experienced 100 years ago, back in the old
Me
chalkboard.
too. 150 years ago.
And what is sad about that is that it is still the case. We still have this
Yeah.
fractured educational system where it's like, okay, all the playtime's over now. Forget that. We're
Well,
gonna
unless
go
you're in the
from this.
Waldorf system. The Waldorf system lets you play right the way through.
Oh, right. I didn't realize it went that old.
Yeah, high school even. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Anyway, yeah, that's a whole
All right.
different story.
All right. So, what would you say to a person who says something like, "Well, I can do accents really well, or I can do impressions. Does that mean I'd be a good actor? Uh, you know, uh, and or maybe a voice actor or something like that.
You know, it, sorry, and you know this, Mark, having the ability to do accents is really critical to have in your tool bag for being an actor. It won't make you an actor, but it certainly will help you when you're an actor, because there are so many times and so many projects that are looking for people that can do a British accent or a Russian accent or any of the accents that are out there. And, you know, it's actually rare for an agent to actually have somebody that can do multiple accents. And so if you have that ability and you're training in accents, it really, really can help you to move forward in your career as an actor, because then you're open to way more roles and opportunities than if you just have your traditional native accent.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So basically, in a nutshell, having that ability, having that skill is very useful if you're an
Yeah.
actor, but it doesn't make you an actor. And if you are an actor, then it's great if you have that. It is
Yeah.
definitely a great boon to have that skill. But if you don't have it, then it's something that you can develop. Is something you could work on. That's
Absolutely. And for those of you that need to have somebody doing that, Mark
hi. I'm
trains
here.
in accents. And so, you know, I think it's essential to have some training with accents. You know, at least some of the major ones that are always being requested. And as a Canadian, being able to actually have a traditional US accent,
Yeah.
I always find this incredible, because I don't really get the difference, but you would totally understand the difference.
Yeah, I do I do have several clients that are always wanting to improve their general American
Yeah,
accent. I have one right now who we've I've got her to the level of feeling confident in a general American accent, and now we're about to move on to, or we have moved on to RP, the
yeah,
standard Southern British accent,
yeah,
and so I can see like a big difference because a lot of it depends on where that person is at and how far they have to travel, like
yeah,
mentally and linguistically to be able to get there. So this particular client is from Canada, so it wasn't that much of an effort in terms of you know cleaning up her American accent. I mean, there were quite a few things that I had to help with in terms of the lexical sets and the usual tripwires like sorry, no, 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 not sorry, not borrow, but sorry, and borrow. Um,
yeah,
but it is something that especially for Canadian actors that want to get into the American market,
yeah.
you've got to work on that American accent.
Absolutely. We've had actors lose roles over that, like just the word sorry, for instance. It's, you
Yeah,
know, and if the casting director says, "Oh, I loved your audition, but your accent is like, we need a general American. Your sorry was like Canadian." And and it's really
yeah,
sad for the actor when he's actually done a great job, but the tiniest little slip
yeah.
for an accent took away the job from him. And so
That's right.
I really encourage everybody, especially on the bigger television series that we're doing, they all want a general American accent. And so it's imperative to start, studying and training for
Yeah,
that.
exactly. You got
Yeah.
to cut out those shibboleths, right?
Yeah.
The, like the shibboleths are those ones that are going to trip you up.
Yeah.
They're the words or certain ways of saying things, whether it's the word stress or there are so many different like tripwires. There's so many trap
Yeah.
doors that are going to catch you, and even though it may seem unfair, the thing is, imagine if you're casting. a production where, let's say, they're going to be part of a family, how do you explain that that member of the family is Canadian and nobody else?
Right. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's it's probably one of the biggest things that will prevent you from moving forward is not being able to adapt to the accent that they really need.
Yeah.
And it's a shame when there's training out there to help you, fix it
Yeah.
or assist with it. I shouldn't say fix, but assist with it.
Yeah.
Then
Exactly.
why not do that? Because
Yeah.
a
It's
lot of our shows now are being produced for an American audience. So
exactly. I
yeah,
mean, not only that, but I find, I mean, I don't want to get too much into this now because otherwise we're going to sort of veer off uh, our main thing, which is like, so you want to be an actor, because we'll do another episode entirely on this
okay,
because I could go on for freaking hours about this, but
yeah.
I'm not going to. That's for another time. So I want to move on to another question, which is, can I make a living as an actor?
Well, that's I've seen it both ways. Actually, it's really an interesting question because that's probably why friends and family will deter you from becoming an actor because the belief is that you can't really make money or consistent money doing it.
Yeah,
And in some cases that's actually true. I mean it it really is dependent on your agent, your ability, how many auditions you have, what age group you're in. it's
yeah,
it really depends. I mean, I've seen it both ways. I've seen really great actors have to, waiter or waitress on the side in order to be able to pay the rent, in spite of the fact that they are really phenomenally good actors. Because sometimes it takes a while for them to actually be seen enough that they get, bigger and better roles where they can actually
yeah,
make a living at it.
yeah,
But I've also seen brand new actors book series regular roles from, a really, really large producer in the US and make multiple millions. So, you know, you really can never tell, unfortunately. And that's why I say you just have to go for it and try it. And if you find that the things that you want or need in your life, you can't get through your work as an actor, you have a couple of choices. You can actually live simply and enjoy your job, or you can do something else and do acting as a hobby. So you have choices. I have seen lots of people do this for a living, though, and this is my only job as well. So
yeah. And
yeah,
the other thing, like I've heard actors before say that, people will ask them like, "So what's your job?" And then when they say, "I'm an actor," the person who asked the question will say, "Yeah, okay, what do you do for a
what's your
living?"
real job?
Yeah, "What's your real job? What do you do for a living?" And they'll say, "Well, during the day, I wait tables, but that's so that I can do my real job, which
Right,
is as an actor." Like,
right.
that is their career. So there's not that many people in Hollywood that did not start off as something else before they went into acting.
Yeah, in fact, probably 99.9% of them did something else. And there are some really, really famous actors that, took like 20 years to actually get to where they are, where they're actually able to
Yeah,
live on what they're making.
and they
And
didn't quit.
so, it is a time thing. I was speaking with one of
Yeah.
my actors this morning, and she wanted to know, how could she get things going? Like, how could she make it better? Why isn't, like, why?
Why
And
aren't things
really,
happening now?
right. And it's really truly, it's a time thing. It's you never know when your time is going to happen. And one of the reasons why I really for my roster, I tend to actually really have a long-term relationship with my actors. If I believe in them, I stay with them, whether they're earning or not earning, because I actually believe it's just time. And there is going to be a moment for everybody where they actually break through and they have that moment where they can move forward. As long as they have talent, I'm going to stick with them no matter what. And they just have to have the patience and let time work its magic. Yeah. And that is incredibly hard for an actor to do, because they all want to be working and they all miss being out there. And it's,
of course,
I think one of the hardest things for me as an agent is to try to help them stay encouraged about the possibilities.
And this is the thing, is like, a job is not necessarily, always going to be something that's going to get big exposure on TV. Like, I know actors, friends of mine, who, sure, they've done TV stuff here and there, but what they do in between, like, they will, like you said, student productions as well. Like, they're not proud to go, oh, I don't do a student productions. That's not me. Like, I've seen them in all kinds of stuff. And the reason they're doing that is because they love what they do. They love it.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you got to get some money from somewhere. You have to live somehow. But if you can do stuff in between that isn't TV stuff, by all means do it. I wanted to bring up something that Bernadette.
I know, I just noticed it too. I was going to say we have to bring that up.
She says that training is imperative because it gives you a perspective and discovery.
Mm-hmm.
And she also says that in the meantime of working, you got to keep training and keep your acting muscles active.
Yeah, that's it. And one of the really great things about student films, or even collaborating with other actors on the roster, is you may not be being paid for it, but you're keeping active. And the worst thing that happens is if there's a lull between auditions, say from 1 month to the next, or even a couple of months to the next, and with COVID, we were down for a year. You have to keep active somehow. Do scene studies with partners, like film your own stuff, find a location, get a volunteer film crew together, and get actor friends together, and start just creating, because you can lose that hungry spirit of an actor if you're just sitting around waiting for the audition to come. You have to keep going. And those actors that are actually out there creating and doing all the time, making their own short films, Rosie just mentioned, making short films, it builds confidence. It helps your skills. Working with other actors is going to keep you going as an actor, so that when that audition comes, you're ready. You don't even have to think about it. You're ready. You're already doing all of this stuff. Thanks, Rosie and Bernadette. That's like really good stuff. Yeah.
And
sorry to get so excited.
But that's what it's all about, right? Yeah. If you're not getting excited about it, then you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be in it. Find something that you get excited about.
True. That's true.
And so another thing is, like, people who are wondering, okay, so I'm thinking about becoming an actor, or I've done a little bit of this and that. Should they go into stage, screen acting, voice acting? Like, what next?
Well, some actors do it all. They actually start off in theater. Sometimes people will get the bug in high school, and in their high school yearly production. You have to test all of these various things in order to find out where your love is. I've got some theater actors that absolutely have to do theater because they love it. They just love the thrill of it. They love the amazing fear of it. It's an adrenaline rush for sure. And they have to to do theater. There are some that just want film and TV. They feel way more comfortable knowing that they can redo a scene if it wasn't exactly the way they felt it was right.
Well, in theater, you can redo a scene. You just have to wait till the next evening.
Exactly. So, you have to, I personally think you need to try all of the different parts of being an actor, including voice. Voice is a little bit different because it's a little bit harder to get into, because there is a little bit of a close-knit group that tends to be involved in voice acting. But honing those skills for opportunities that actually just might come your way. I got an actor right now that is a television series actor, and she was just asked to do voice. And so having that ability, having that, a little bit of training in voice will actually open that door for you. So, I think if you're really planning on doing this as a career, getting involved in training in all aspects, it's like somebody mentioned, I think it was Bernadette, who said it'll help you grow. It'll help you grow as an actor. The more you try on, the more discovery you have about the various aspects of yourself and what you can do, the better you are, the better you will be in your career, and the more useful you will be to an agent, to be honest.
Yeah, which really brings me quite neatly into another thing, which is about agents, whether we need one. So I thought that maybe we could do that in another show. We'll talk about agents, like, do I need one? Blah, blah, blah. All
Yeah.
the questions that come up about agents. So before we finish up, I'd just like to give a shout out to Rosie Tyler for contributing, and also Bernadette Medhurst, and also to say hi to some people that like Jessica and Ralph Pearl. And yeah, thanks
Thanks
everybody.
for
But
everybody. I think
yeah,
Tony was in there too. He's on my roster as well. Popped in for a few minutes. So thank you for everybody that popped in to say hi. I loved it. I love seeing you pop up on the chat board. That was awesome. Thank you so much for your support.
yeah, thanks so much for your support. And also, if you enjoyed this, then please do share this around. We're going to be doing this every week until Teri gets bored of me. Uh, So it's always going to be Tuesday 2:20, and we're going to be, we're going to have a lot of different questions and stuff, and everybody's welcome to come up with their questions that are to do with whatever the topic is for that day, which of course we'll tell you about in advance. So just keep your eye on Facebook and Instagram, because that's where I'll be posting stuff to let you know what we're going to be talking about next week. And Teri, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I really love this. Thank you so much, Mark, for this opportunity to share. Yeah, it's really fun.
It
And
is,
thanks
isn't it?
everybody who showed up.
Okay, I'll see you again next week, folks. All